I wasn't born a monster. No one is. But the world has a way of turning innocence into silence, a way of twisting pain into precision, a way of carving something so hollow out of you that what remains isn't even human anymore. It's something else entirely. Something pure. Something that doesn't blink, doesn't beg, doesn't break. You want to know how to become like me? Good. That means you've already tasted the bitterness. You've already realized that love doesn't save you, that kindness gets exploited. That innocence is a weakness in a world built by predators. But understanding the truth isn't enough. Everyone wakes up eventually. Some people choose to close their eyes again. They crawl back to their illusions, to their cages, to their safe lies. Because it's easier. Becoming like me. It's not easy. It's irreversible. Once you step into this way of thinking, there's no going back. Let me tell you a truth. Most people are too scared to hear. The world doesn't want you to be free. It wants you obedient. It doesn't want you to think. It wants you to follow. It trains you from birth to smile, obey, conform. And if you keep playing by its rules, you'll never be anything more than a pawn. I became something else, something beyond human, something the world couldn't define, couldn't control, couldn't predict. They call it evil. They call it monstrous. They say I lack empathy, that I'm a void wrapped in skin. They're wrong. I understand people better than they understand themselves. I see their fears before they even open their mouths. I read their lies while they still believe them. I don't feel the need to connect. I dissect. I don't love. I study. I don't cry. I calculate. And that, my friend, is freedom. You want to be like me? Let me ask you something first. Can you abandon the illusion of morality? Can you strip away every belief that was spoon-fed to you about good and evil? Can you watch someone beg and still feel nothing? Can you look into the eyes of someone who once trusted you and feel absolutely nothing when you twist the knife? Because that is what it takes. Do you know what it feels like to really be alone? It's more than silence. It's a state of being. You think you want power, but power requires sacrifice. You must kill the part of yourself that seeks approval, that cries for comfort, that begs to be understood. Forget validation, forget love, forget the childish fantasy that someone will come and save you. Let them call you heartless. Let them call you a psychopath. Let them misunderstand. Because every genius looks like a madman to the blind. I wasn't born with this mind. It was sharpened by isolation, by betrayal, by being used, studied, manipulated. I was groomed in silence. I was crafted in abandonment. And eventually, I realized the only way to win this game is not to play by their rules. So I rewrote the game. I simply learned to return the favor. Do you know what the most terrifying thing in the world is? A person who has nothing left to lose. A person who has no fear. A person who cannot be broken. Because they've already been shattered and rebuilt in silence. The world is not beautiful. People are not good. Here's the formula. Observe. Say nothing. People tell you everything if you stay silent long enough. Silence is a void most people can't tolerate. They will fill it with their confessions, their fears, their history. You just have to listen. Dissect them. Everyone has patterns. A nervous laugh, a glance to the side, a hesitation before answering. Find the cracks. Everyone has them. Once you know their patterns, you can break them. And when you break their patterns, you break their control. Detach. Emotion makes you predictable. Prediction is control. People are creatures of emotion. Rage, guilt, love, shame. These are chains. Break them. You cannot manipulate others if you yourself are still bound. Control the narrative. The truth is a weak weapon. Perception is stronger. It's not about what is real. It's about what they believe. You don't need to dominate physically. words are enough. Use subtlety, use timing, use silence. A whisper at the right time can destroy a kingdom. Be forgotten. The greatest manipulators aren't known. They're not famous. They move through the world like ghosts. They build nothing, own nothing, but influence everything. Don't chase fame. Don't seek recognition. Power is quiet. True control is invisible. This is the path. It's not made for the weak. You will be alone. You will be hated. You will be misunderstood. But you will never be controlled again. You're not a good person. I'm not a good person either. We both just play our roles. Look around you. The world rewards obedience, mediocrity, the safe choice, the approved script, the perfect smile. But underneath it, everyone's lying. Everyone's hiding something. Everyone is pretending to be what they think the world wants. Not me. I removed the mask, and I never put it back on. That's why they fear me. Because I show them the reflection they spend their whole lives running from. I am the consequence of truth. You want to be like me? Ask yourself, can you burn your innocence? Can you bury your need to be loved? Can you become the thing they blame when everything breaks? Can you destroy your image of yourself and still survive? Can you be the villain in everyone's story and still sleep peacefully at night? Because once you do, nothing can touch you. Not pain, not guilt, not even death. Only then can you move the pieces without becoming one. Only then can you look into a man's soul and see every fracture. And when he asks you who you are, you can smile and say, I'm the one who knows what you really are. Most people are terrified of the dark. They think monsters are waiting in the shadows, but they are wrong. The shadows don't hide monsters, they create them. And I am the result of everything the light refused to fix. I was born in the darkness, and I learned to see in a way no light will ever allow. If this voice is something that lives inside you, if you know what it means to hide pain behind silence, hit that like button. And if you've ever felt like the world tried to control you, label you, cage you, but deep down you knew you were something else, comment below. I'm ready. Because monsters aren't born, they're made. And sometimes, they become the only ones who are truly free. Share this with someone who's been silent for too long. Let them hear it. Let them feel what it means to finally stop pretending. Johan didn't destroy people. He showed them what they really were. And when the world burns from within, he will be the one watching it fall. Calm, silent, free. And in that silence, while others scream, cry, and beg for meaning, he'll stand still, untouched, unbothered, unchained. Because he never needed their world. He only needed to prove it could be undone. And once you understand that, once you truly feel it, you won't ask how to become like me. You'll realize you already are.
They say the devil whispers in your ear. But I don't whisper. I speak clearly, directly, to those who are intelligent enough to listen. So, if you're here to become like me, you must first ask yourself, can you stare into the abyss and smile? You want to become like me? Then throw away everything you think you know about strength. Forget motivation. Forget self-help. Forget the hollow speeches of heroes who never bled for their own cause. You're not here to be righteous. You're here because something inside you knows that the world is not kind, and neither should you be. Let me tell you a story. Once, there was a boy. Everyone thought he was kind, polite, even perfect. Teachers admired him. Classmates followed him. But behind his smile was something else. Silence, observation, control. He never raised his voice, never begged for respect. He commanded it, without ever asking. Because the world doesn't listen to the loudest. It listens to the one who moves in silence, yet owns every room he walks into. If you want to be like me, you need to understand one thing first. Control isn't taken by force. It's taken by knowledge, by patience, by watching people destroy themselves while you simply smile. Power, you see, isn't loud. It doesn't need to be. The powerful ones, they are calm, unmoved. They sit in chaos like it's a dinner party, sipping their tea while the world burns around them. Why? Because they created the fire, and they are not afraid of heat. You want to become like me? Then stop seeking approval. You must become the observer, the reader of minds. You must become someone who sees through masks, through lies, through smiles and fake tears. Everyone is playing a role. And you? You must become the director of this theater. I didn't beg the world to be fair. I studied it. While others played, I watched. While others laughed, I listened. And when the moment came, I moved one piece. Just one. And everything fell. Not because I was angry, not because I was strong, but because I understood how the world truly works and how easily it breaks. If you want to become like me, then understand this. Most people don't want freedom. They want comfort. They want illusions. They want someone to think for them. Be that someone. Not by shouting, not by violence, but by becoming the one thing everyone fears. The person who knows them better than they know themselves. Let me ask you something. Have you ever felt invisible? Good. Stay that way. Because when no one sees you coming, you are the most dangerous person in the room. Build your mind into a weapon. Read psychology like it's survival. Speak less. Mean more. Smile only when necessary. Not for connection, but for control. They think emotions are strength? Number. Emotions are distractions. You will need to feel nothing. Be water, but not like Bruce Lee says. Be water that drowns cities. Be the silent wave they never see coming until it's far too late. You want to be like Johan Liebert? Then stop reacting. Start orchestrating. Plant ideas, shape narratives, speak once, and let that one sentence destroy an entire belief system. Most people live in cages of their own construction. Their trauma controls them. Their guilt chains them. Their past defines them. But you'll be the one who sees those chains and turns them into your strings. A puppeteer of minds, a ghost in their logic, a phantom they fear, but never suspect. You must become elegant, refined, deadly in thought, but soft in appearance. When you walk into a room, don't make noise, make presence. Because those who truly know power don't need to speak of it. Call to action. 1. If you're not here to be ordinary, if you're not afraid to become the villain in a world full of cowards, then comment below. I see everything. Let me know you're listening. Let me know you're ready. And finally, kill the part of you that wants to be accepted. Because the path to becoming like me means becoming someone that even gods would fear. Not because of violence, but because of how quietly you can make kingdoms fall. With just a whisper. Not everyone should follow this path. But if you truly believe, you were born to become more than human, to become untouchable, then welcome. You're not alone. You're becoming something far more powerful. You're becoming inevitable. Like this video, if you felt the power behind every word, share it with those who you believe are capable of evolving. But be careful. Not everyone is ready for this. Subscribe for more speeches that unlock the darker truths of power, psychology, and control. This isn't motivation. This is transformation.
You think you want to be like me? Nah, you just like the aura of it. You see me walk in calm, unfazed, like I already know how it ends. You see how people freeze up when I speak, how they feel small just being in the same room. You like that. You want that. But here's the truth nobody tells you. You don't want to be me. You just want the effect. You want the fear I bring without carrying the weight I carry. You want that silence, that power, but not the price. See, what you call control, that's years of cutting off every piece of me that felt anything. What you call calm, that's me being so detached, nothing moves me anymore. What you see as power is just pain that got organized. You think you're built for this? Then try living every day knowing everything is fake. Smiles, love, peace, all of it. Try trusting no one, not 'cause you're paranoid, but because you're right. This ain't confidence. This is survival, dressed up in silence. Still think you're ready to be like me? All right then. Let's see how long you last when your heart's gone cold and all that's left is calculation. So you're still here, still convinced you want to be like me. All right. Then let's talk about the price. Everybody wants to hold the throne, but nobody wants to bleed for it. They want control, but they're too attached. They want respect, but they're desperate to be liked. They want to lead, but they're scared to stand alone. That's where I cut different. You can't fake this. You can't act cold and distant and call that power. That's cosplay. Real power, real control. That comes from the absence of fear, the absence of need, the absence of emotion. I didn't learn how to control people by reading books or practicing fake smiles in the mirror. I learned it by understanding one simple truth. People are easy to manipulate when they need something from you. Validation, safety, belonging. That's what makes them weak. That's what makes them predictable. You want to be like me? Then kill the part of you that still seeks comfort. Kill the part that wants to be saved. Kill the part that wants to be loved. Because once you do that, you become something entirely different. You stop asking why people lie and start asking how to use it. You stop trying to connect and start calculating outcomes. You stop seeing people as friends or enemies and start seeing them as tools or obstacles. And yeah, I get it. That sounds cold. That sounds cruel. But let me tell you something. In this world, kindness gets you manipulated. Softness gets you stepped on, and trust gets you killed. I didn't become powerful by building walls. I became powerful by becoming the storm outside them. I walk into people's lives like a whisper and leave like a collapse, not because I hate them, but because I understand them better than they ever could. You still want this? Then ask yourself this. Can you sit across from someone smiling, knowing you're about to destroy them, and still feel nothing? Can you tear someone's world apart without flinching, without guilt, without blinking? That's what it takes to be like me. It takes losing the version of you that still thinks there's a happy ending. Because this story doesn't have one. There's no light at the end of this tunnel. There's just silence and the echo of people realizing they were never in control. So, you made it this far. You've heard the weight. You've felt the pressure. And you still think you want this? You really think you're built to walk in the shadow of someone like me? Then let's talk about the final truth. Control means nothing without purpose. Because once you strip away emotion, kill attachment, and destroy guilt, all you're left with is space. And in that silence, either you become a god, or you become nothing at all. Most people who try to be like me fall into that second category. They think being cold makes them powerful. They think detachment is dominance. But here's what they don't get. Power without precision is just destruction. I don't move people for fun. I don't create chaos to look cool. Every step I take is calculated. Every word I speak is a test. Every soul I break is part of the equation. You want to know why nobody can touch me? Because I don't act out of rage. I don't act out of revenge. I act out of clarity, and that's what separates me from the rest of you. I don't flinch. I don't second guess. I don't hesitate while you're still deciding how you feel. I've already ended the game. Most people aren't built for that. They want control, but they still crave recognition. They want to be feared, but they still want love. And that's why they'll always lose. See, I don't need a crowd to validate me. I don't need to be seen or praised or remembered. Because the most powerful move I ever made was erasing my need to be understood. Now I just move, quietly, ruthlessly, efficiently. And by the time they realize I was there, it's already too late. You want to be like me? Then throw away your need to be admired. Throw away your desire to be accepted. Throw away the part of you that still wants to be human. Because the closer you get to becoming like me, the more you realize this isn't about being strong. It's about being empty enough to do what no one else will. And in that emptiness, you either lose yourself completely, or you finally become untouchable. So before you say you want to be like me, ask yourself one last thing. Are you willing to disappear your soul just to become something unforgettable? Because that's what it really takes, and once you cross that line, there's no coming back. Let's clear one thing up real quick. I never hated people. That would mean I cared enough to waste energy on them. No, it's worse than that. I studied them. I watched them tear each other apart over illusions. I watched them lie to survive, cheat to feel powerful, and cling to the idea that they're good just to avoid facing who they really are. People, they wear masks so well, they forget they're even wearing them. You want to be like me? Then take the mask off, not just yours, everyone else's too. Because once you see people for what they really are, not friends, not family, just patterns, just predictable reactions, desperate to feel in control of something, it changes you. You stop chasing approval. You stop seeking connection. You stop wasting time on things that don't move the needle.
Do you know the most terrifying kind of power? The kind that doesn't make a sound. It doesn't raise its voice. It doesn't show its fists. It walks into a room, and people feel their blood go cold. Not because it's loud, but because it's already inside them, controlling them, dismantling them, from the inside out. That's the level you aim for. Not brute force, not flashy emotions, but a calm, surgical presence that unravels everything. You see, the world worships strength, muscles, followers, loud ambition. But the most dangerous man in any room isn't the strongest. He's the quietest. He doesn't fight. He controls who fights. He doesn't need to scream. He makes others scream from within. You were never meant to be ordinary. You were taught to be liked, to be acceptable, to play by rules you never wrote. But deep down, didn't it always feel fake? Didn't you know you were meant for something darker, colder, sharper? Society trained you to wear a leash, smile when you're angry, say I'm okay when your soul is on fire. But those days are over, because the real you isn't soft. The real you watches the world and understands. People aren't moved by kindness. They're moved by fear, by mystery, by the presence that makes them question everything about themselves. Control is the real currency. You want money? Get control. You want love? Get control. You want silence in a room full of chaos? Get control. Control isn't about barking orders. It's about being 5 moves ahead without saying a word. It's about watching a person fall apart from a single sentence you spoke last year. It's about making people obsess over you without ever needing to raise your voice. You don't lead by demanding. You lead by being inevitable. That's what people never understand. It's not about being liked. It's about being unforgettable. Like this, so the algorithm knows you're part of the 1%. Detach, observe, destroy. The moment you stop reacting emotionally to things, you start controlling them. People insult you, you smile, because their noise means you already live in their heads. Rent-free. They mock you? Perfect. They see you. And if they see you, they're already 1 step behind. This world is obsessed with attention, but the true predators are those who watch silently, waiting, planning, smiling. Because when you don't speak much, every word becomes a weapon. When you don't show much emotion, every gesture becomes a mystery.
You're not evil.
When you detach, you dominate.
You're awake.
Let them call you cold. Let them label you heartless. You don't care about their comfort. You care about results. You care about watching the pieces move exactly where you planned. You care about that look in their eyes when they realize they never stood a chance. Power isn't about chaos. It's about calm. It's about becoming the eye of the storm. That's what the most dangerous men in history had in common. They didn't shout. They whispered, and the world listened. Manipulation isn't wrong. It's reality. You manipulate every day. Your words, your silence, your presence. It's all influence. You don't need violence to dominate. You need silence. Silence is what makes people question you, question themselves. It plants seeds of uncertainty, and nothing is more powerful than doubt. Doubt turns strong men weak. It rots pride from the inside. It crumbles certainty, and you are the architect of that decay. Not by hate, not by rage, but by presence. You don't chase power, you become it. There's a level where you don't need to prove anything. You walk, and the air changes. People adjust their tone. They lower their voices. They feel something they can't describe, but it terrifies them. That's what you aim for. That's what true evolution looks like. Not chaos, not blood, but invisible strings pulled by a silent mind. Pain was your teacher. Now you teach others. You didn't become like this by chance. You were broken, lied to, used, and all of that became fuel. While they were dancing, you were watching. While they were laughing, you were analyzing. While they were flexing muscles, you were building nuclear precision in your thoughts. Now, you smile, not because you're happy, but because you're inevitable. Comment, "I'm ready," if you're not afraid to become that version of yourself. The world needs chaos. You just learn to control it. Everything's falling apart. People are emotionally unstable, addicted, distracted, weak. This is your moment. You don't fix the world, you reshape it. You don't beg for peace, you weaponize silence. You don't chase love, you become obsession. You don't avoid pain, you turn it into architecture. Every failure you faced wasn't meant to break you. It was meant to sharpen you. Every betrayal you faced, now you know how people work, what they fear, what they want, what controls them. They want answers. You become the question. People crave certainty. They want to understand you, but the more they try, the more they drown, because you don't exist within their logic.
You still want to be loved? Interesting, because that's exactly why you'll never win. That's why they'll control you, break you, discard you. Love, it makes you predictable, soft, willing to kneel, willing to lose, just to feel needed. I knew that early, because I was born in a place where love did not exist. There were no warm hands, no soft voices, no safety. Only numbers, tests, white walls, and silence. They called it the 511 Kinderheim, but it wasn't a place for children. It was a factory, a place where monsters were not just created, they were refined. In that place, love was a myth. So I adapted. I observed. I watched those who craved affection, and I watched them die. Pathetic, because here's the truth no one will ever tell you. Love is a leash. It gives others power over you. When you care, they can manipulate you. When you desire, they can withhold. When you love, they can break you. And still, you want it. You want someone to see you, to understand you, to validate you. That's the tragedy. You mistake attention for worth, affection for truth. You don't want power, you want permission. But I didn't need anyone to tell me who I was. I knew. I was the end. The last page in a book no one could close. I was the shadow behind every smile. I became what the world fears most, a man with no need for love. Let me ask you something. When was the last time love saved you? Number not distracted you, not made you feel high for a few weeks. I mean saved you, gave you power, control, precision, silence. Has love ever made you untouchable? It hasn't. Because love doesn't liberate, it chains. You think I'm cruel? You think I'm empty? Number, I am pure. I cut away the parts of myself that were designed to be broken. I amputated the need to belong. And in doing so, I became something else, something unshakable. Look at your life. Every time you trusted, you were lied to. Every time you loved, you were hurt. Every time you reached out, you were pulled down. But still, you cling to the idea that the next time will be different. That's the illness. You're addicted to hope. And hope is the cruelest illusion of all. They told you to be kind, to be gentle, to smile. And now, you're drowning in your own tears, wondering why no one comes to save you. Here's why. The world doesn't reward softness, it consumes it. But you can change. You can kill the part of you that begs to be loved, and when you do, you'll be free. Do you know what I saw when I looked at people? Weakness, not in their bodies, in their eyes. The desperation to be liked, to fit in, to not be alone. It was disgusting and easy, because when someone needs to be loved, they can be controlled completely. Smile at them and they obey. Ignore them and they collapse. Love becomes a weapon in the hands of those who don't need it. I became the weapon. You could too. But first, you must understand this. The world does not care about you. It never did. It will step on your neck while smiling to your face. And you'll thank it, because you're scared of being alone. You'd rather be broken in a crowd than whole in silence. I chose silence, and in that silence, I found peace. Peace that can't be taken, power that can't be traded, a mind that doesn't flinch, a soul that doesn't shiver. You still want love? Or do you want control? Because you can't have both. Let me ask you again. Why do you want to be loved? Be honest. Is it because you believe you're not enough without it? Because if no one chooses you, you feel like you don't exist? That's where they get you. You made your existence dependent on the approval of others. You outsourced your worth. You became a product waiting to be validated. I didn't beg. I didn't chase. I watched, and then I used their love against them. Because here's the truth. The people you think are strong, they aren't. They're just better at pretending. But deep down they're terrified, just like you. Terrified of being unseen, unwanted, forgotten. So they perform, they post, they pretend, while the real power lies with those who don't need to be seen at all. Invisible, untouchable, unbothered. And here is where your transformation begins. Not by adding more, but by removing. Strip away the layers of false identity you built to be loved. All the smiles you forced. The jokes you made so others would feel comfortable. The lies you told yourself to justify their neglect. Take a knife to it. Burn it. Bury it. Let that version of you die. Because only in death does true rebirth begin. I became the ghost that haunts the heart of every manipulator. Because I manipulate better. More precisely. Without a trace of emotion. I smile without joy. I cry without pain. And I win without celebration. Because I am not trying to prove anything. I simply move. And my moves break others. There's no passion in it. Just math. You, though, you're still clinging to your old memories. To the warmth that once held you. To the words someone said before they vanished. You want to move forward, but you're chained to your own longing. You won't let go, and that is why you'll always be one step behind me. You can't fight someone who has nothing to lose. Until you reach that place where your identity is no longer tied to external comfort. You're not free. You're rented, owned. Let them call you heartless. Let them call you broken. Let them fear the calm in your voice. Because when they fear you, they obey you. And if they obey you, they can never break you. So I ask again, which do you want more? To be understood or to be unbreakable? You already know the answer. There was a moment one single second in the middle of chaos where I wondered what it would be like to care again. A moment where I almost allowed myself to feel, but then I saw them. The same eyes I had seen in countless others, pleading, hopeful, naive, and I remembered, feelings are a liability. In that second, I killed the urge, like flicking off a switch. That's what strength is, the ability to disobey your own nature. And it's the only thing that separates those who rise from those who rot. There is a version of you that doesn't flinch, doesn't wait, doesn't ask, only acts. That version is buried under everything you were told to be. I won because I let go of the need to be anything at all. You don't defeat the world by fighting it. You defeat it by becoming the one thing it can't control. And that is who I became. Have you ever sat in the silence so deep that you started to wonder whether someone or something was watching from the dark? Not just the emptiness, but a presence, as if the night itself had eyes. Think about it. Most people never do. They hurry past the stillness, turn on lights, check their screens, call a friend, fill each minute with noise. Because if you're quiet for too long, you begin to sense it. Something vast and patient, invisible but real, waiting just outside the glow of your life. That feeling you get, that prickling at the back of your thoughts, that's me. I watch from the other side of the glass, silent and certain, each night a little closer. You spend every day building a wall of words around yourself. Kindness, bravery, family, laughter, hope, each a thin shield. But what are you really protecting? Not your goodness, not even your fear. You're hiding from that moment when there's nothing left to distract you, and all you see is your smallness, your hunger, your aching, need to be seen not by anyone, but by someone who truly matters. Right now, I need to tell you something important. Most people have already clicked away, finding any excuse to escape the feeling this voice gives them. But you're still here, aren't you? Even if your finger hovers, you stay. Why? Because deep down you know, the things that frighten you most are also the things that make you feel most alive. There is a reason your heart beats faster when the darkness lingers. You can lie to yourself about why, but I know. So show me, like this message, right now. If you're still watching, let's prove to both of us which part of you wins, the curiosity or the fear. You tell yourself stories about good and evil, draw lines and rules, stack up your virtues like bricks. But those stories crack. Morality is only a costume, a shield to keep you from seeing your reflection in the dark. If everything was stripped away, all your excuses, all your trophies, all your hope, what would be left? Not heroism, just the hunger to mean something, the craving to be chosen, no matter what you have to become. You call me a monster because you fear the possibility that someone could live without needing any mask at all. But what if I told you the truest mask is the one you wear every day, smiling and nodding, keeping the real questions at arm's length? Let me be honest. I do not hope. I do not wait for love or applause. You, on the other hand, live for both. Your kindness, your courage, even your loyalty, they are calculated, just like coins spent to buy a little certainty. But when you're alone in the dark with my eyes on you, you can feel the cracks. You realize the game was lost before you even learned the rules. You want stories? You always do. You want proof this is real, proof someone understands even the parts you'd rather forget. I knew a man so proud of his honor, who fought every day to be good. All I did was show him that no one cared for his struggle. I didn't need to lie or threaten or shout. A calm reminder, a whisper, really, and his courage fell apart. A mother, certain that love meant sacrifice, believed her happiness was built on her children's laughter. With one simple idea, a suggestion that she was their jailer, not their guardian, I watched her unravel her own heart thread by thread. There is nothing difficult in this. You want to believe manipulation is a talent, but I simply show you what you already hide from yourself. I do not light the fire. I only remove the matches from your pocket and let you see your own hands. You may tell yourself you're safe because you're clever, or careful, or kind, but you're still here, aren't you? Despite every warning, you keep listening because you feel something true moving behind every word. If you were really in control, you would have left, but you haven't. It's beautiful, isn't it? This dance around the flame, this game of daring the darkness to do its worst. Go ahead, like the message, or share it if you're ready to invite someone else to feel what you feel right now. Consider it your first act of honesty in a long time. Could you be like me? You like to think so, but you hold on to hope as if it's a shield crying out for comfort, a future, forgiveness. I let go of all that a long time ago. The only thing that's left when hope is burned away is the truth, and the ones who can face it without flinching are very few. You'll never be like me. Not really. Even now, you look for safety between the lines. You check the shadows for monsters and sigh with relief to find yourself alone. But I am already there. You belong to me, as much as you belong to any promise or story or dream. You want to prove you're different? Comment. I'm ready. Write it below, if you dare. Show yourself in the darkness that you are ready to see what you really are. But you know, even as you write it, that readiness is just another word for helplessness dressed up for the daylight. You call me evil, thinking the label will keep you safe. But what is evil, except the shape of truths you can't bear to face? Villain, monster, king, all words that mean nothing, nothing at all when the stories end and the lights switch off. In the silence, when every mask falls away, there is nothing left but reflection. My eyes staring out of your own. If you want to test your courage, share this message. Let someone else's certainty break. Just for a moment, let them feel the strange freedom that comes with knowing the night does not blink. You don't do it for me. Do it for the honesty you've always run from. Do you feel it now, the weight in your chest? A slow tightening you cannot quite name. That's not fear of me. That's fear of what you might see if you look too long in the mirror after my voice fades. The question is simple. How much of your kindness is actually need? How many smiles are just practiced masks, shields against the cold you cannot bear alone? At night, you count your regrets and call them lessons. You gather your secrets and call them wisdom. But under that soft spin of memory is the truth I reveal. You do not want to be truly free. Freedom terrifies you more than any cage. It is easier to be led by the hand, to belong to a story, even a cruel one, than to stand naked before the emptiness I inhabit. This is all I offer. You have always belonged to me. Nothing you do, nothing you fear or hope for will ever change that. And now you know it, you feel it in your chest. That cold, sweet ache that means my voice won't leave, even when you turn out the lights. The rest of your days will be shadows waiting, watching, as I always have, for the moment you finally admit the truth you felt in this very moment. In the dark, you are never alone. And I am king. You want peace? Interesting. Then you're already losing. Because peace is the lie they sell you. Comfort is the chain they wrap around your mind. And balance? Balance is the excuse of men who never had the strength to go all the way. You think wanting peace makes you wise? Number. It makes you easy to control. You chase peace like a child chases a dream, but I studied the war inside. The truth is, people don't want power. They want safety. They don't want to evolve. They want to feel okay. They talk about happiness, purpose, inner calmas, if these things are goals. But those aren't goals. They're distractions. Distractions from the storm inside them they refuse to confront. You want peace? Try sitting alone with your thoughts for an hour. No music, no scrolling, just silence. Most people can't do it. Because in silence, the demons come out. You want to grow, evolve, ascend? Then let me ask you something. Are you ready to burn everything that made you comfortable? Are you willing to abandon every lie you told yourself to sleep better at night? Because what's killing you isn't failure. It's comfort. Comfort that keeps you from taking risks. Comfort that keeps you loyal to people who drain you. Comfort that whispers, "You're doing fine," when your soul is screaming, "Get up." You sleep too well. You explain too much. You wait too long. You're soft. Because peace has made you weak. I don't say this to insult you. I say it because I've been there. I've stared into the mirror and seen a version of myself who just wanted to be liked, who wanted people to understand me, who thought peace would make me whole. But peace didn't build me. Fire did. Isolation did. Rage, silence, betrayal, those were my teachers. And if you are watching this till here, so I already know you are not meant to be average. Take the next step, like, subscribe, and comment. I am awaken. Leet, continue. You know why people fail? Because they're too busy chasing healing instead of becoming dangerous. They want to recover. I wanted to transform. There's a difference. Healing is for those who want to feel safe again. Transformation is for those who want to become untouchable. Peace says, take a break. You've done enough. But the enemy doesn't sleep. The world doesn't pause. The war in your mind doesn't wait. So why should I? When you choose peace before power, you give up control. You let the world tell you when to rest, when to move, what to feel. Number, I create my own storm. I don't wait for peace. I prepare for war. You want to know the truth? No one cares how you feel. Not really. They care about what you can do, what you produce, what you control. And the moment you start crying about fairness, about being tired, about needing time, you've already surrendered. The ones who win? They operate like machines, cold, precise, unstoppable. Because when you take peace out of the equation, you remove hesitation. You remove the need to be understood. And suddenly, you start moving like a ghost, like a shadow with purpose. People will call you emotionless. Let them. They called me a monster. But monsters don't break under pressure. They break others. You want to become like me? Then start by killing your need for peace. Start by realizing that your desire to be understood is your greatest weakness. Because when you need peace, you compromise, you delay, you soften. But when you accept war, you sharpen, you accelerate, you evolve. Look around. Everyone is trying to feel better, trying to be validated, trying to be seen. But I trained myself to disappear, to move without noise, to exist without needing applause. They don't notice me until it's too late, and by the time they try to stop me, I'm already 10 moves ahead. See, peace makes people emotional. War makes people calculated. And if you want to dominate this world, you need to be dangerous when no one's looking. Peace is a distraction. It lulls you into thinking you have time, that you're okay, that it's fine to slow down. But I'll tell you a secret. The most dangerous moment in any war is when you start to believe the fight is over. That's when you get comfortable. That's when you get soft. That's when you die. And I never stop. Because I am the war. I am the storm that doesn't pass. I am the silence before destruction. I am the thought in your enemy's head that makes him hesitate. You still want peace? Then walk away, because this path isn't for you. But if something inside you is tired of comfort, if you're done playing nice, if you're done chasing approval, if you're done explaining yourself, then listen carefully. Kill the comfort, embrace the chaos, operate in silence. Let them think you're calm. Let them believe you've stopped. Let them sleep. While they rest, you rise. While they break, you build. While they cry, you calculate. This isn't about being heartless. It's about being surgical. You feel pain? Good. Use it. Study it. Don't run from it. Turn it into data, into fire, into fuel. The world is full of men begging for peace. I became the one who made them beg for mercy. Because when you become chaos, no one can predict you. And when they can't predict you, they can't control you. That's power, not peace. You still think peace is the goal? Then go meditate, go breathe, go manifest. But don't come near this fire. Don't walk this path. Because this isn't the path of peace. It's the path of control, of domination, of pure, brutal clarity. And the truth? The world doesn't need more peaceful men. It needs more dangerous ones who've learned how to master themselves. You want to be like me? Then stop searching for peace. Start sharpening your mind. Start building in the dark. Start walking alone. Because when peace dies, that's when the real you begins. Comment below. Peace is weakness. Like this video if you're done pretending, and share it with the one person who still thinks comfort is power. Let them keep searching for balance. You were built for war. You want loyalty? Not the shallow kind you buy with favors or the fake kind you bargain for with words. Real, bone-deep loyalty. The kind that makes people tremble at the thought of betraying you, even when you're not in the room. Let me tell you something most people never learn. Loyalty isn't given to those who ask. It's granted to those who command it quietly. Most spend their lives chasing trust, approval, friendship. They think loyalty is won by over-explaining, oversharing, or shouting the loudest. What they fail to realize is that the ones who are truly followed aren't the ones who cling, but the ones who disappear and are missed. The ones who say little, yet are heard loudest. You see, I never have to ask anyone to be loyal. I don't plead, don't cajole, don't put my heart on the line like some desperate animal waiting for scraps. I walk into a room, and the silence grows thick. People listen. Some are drawn in, some are terrified, but none can ignore me. Because what is not said is often more powerful than what is. Let me teach you the art of silent leadership. First, you must understand, silence is not emptiness. It's loaded with intent, observant, calculating. When you refuse to explain yourself, when you leave pauses that aren't rushed to be filled, people scramble. They want your approval. They itch to make you comfortable. They seek your hidden thoughts. You become the mystery. That mystery is power. That uncertainty becomes gravity. You must realize silence isn't about weakness or hiding. It's about choosing your battlefield. When words aren't thrown around carelessly, every small gesture, every silent glance becomes electrifying. The people around you become hyper-aware, always guessing at your motives, desperate for your approval or fearsome of your judgment. This is the invisible thread that binds true loyalty, making yourself the one they can never quite anticipate, but always feel the need to please. People are conditioned to chase what feels scarce. When you resist the urge to be constantly visible, to flood every moment with talk and reassurance, you elevate your value. Suddenly, your time is a privilege, not an entitlement. When your loyalty is rare, others work twice as hard to earn it, afraid of being left in your silence. That's how the weak weed themselves out, while those worthy of standing beside you fight to prove it. Ruling through silence isn't about total detachment or cruelty. It's about inspiring obsession by keeping people just outside your full reach. Give them glimpses of your thoughts, never the whole map. Support them when it matters, but never let them believe they own your loyalty by default. Let your stillness be a test, your quiet a challenge. The devoted will endure it. The rest will expose themselves and drift away. The difference between a leader and the rest is not how loud they speak, but how few words it takes to command a room. In silence, you become legend. In restraint, you become unforgettable. Loyalty grows in the dark spaces of the mind, doubt, curiosity, fear. Most try to fill those with noise. Not me. I let silence carve its own throne, because silence commands attention. Every word you do choose to speak, then, becomes 10 times more important. Every glance, every move, becomes something to interpret, analyze, remember. Ordinary men become exhausted by their need to be seen and heard. I become unforgettable by saying less. People don't realize that the desperate never win loyalty, they attract users, not followers. They become background noise in their own story, begging for a spotlight that only exposes their neediness. The truth is, loyalty flowers in the presence of authority, and nothing says authority like the one who can wait, who isn't afraid to let the world come to him. Let your actions do the talking. When you help, help without a flourish. When you withdraw, withdraw without explanation. Appear where needed, disappear when not. Over time, people will start to attach significance to your presence. Your arrival will mean something. Your absence, even more. If you want real loyalty, stop convincing, stop pleading. Instead, make yourself the axis around which people choose to orbit. You do this by showing, not telling. Demonstrate ruthlessness when necessary, but restraint when it matters. Forgive silently or punish quietly, but don't let emotions run wild. Control yourself, and others will feel the chill. They'll respect the one who never loses composure. Watch what happens when crisis hits. Most scramble, voices shaking, hands waving, plans crumbling. Stay calm. Observe. Speak only when you have something that needs to be heard. That's the moment everyone will tune in, hanging on every word, afraid to interrupt. Your silence until now made them crave your voice. Understand this. People want to believe in something greater. They want anchors, not anchors that beg for attention, but the kind that never waver. Your silence becomes proof that you don't need them. That makes them want you more. Loyalty is rarely about love. It's about gravitas, presence, the feeling that betraying you means losing something irreplaceable. Never show that another's absence would hurt you. Instead, make your absence their problem. Become useful, but not accessible. Mysterious, but not cold. Practically, this means less social media posting, less explaining your actions, less emotionally charged reactions. Let your aura speak of calm confidence. Here's the paradox. The less you ask for loyalty, the more of it people offer. When you listen more than you talk, act more than you boast, and keep your plans close, you become the enigma everyone wants on their side. The quiet storm, the one whose silence feels heavier than most people's speeches. Stay patient, and soon you'll see the ones who truly recognize power will come to you. They'll defend you in rooms you've never entered. They'll cling to your words even after you've gone silent. So, you want loyalty? Build it not with noise, but with presence. Create mystery, maintain discipline, and rule through silence. Say little, let them wonder, and when you finally speak, let your words cut deeper than noise ever could. If this hit you, comment, "I speak less, I rule more." If you're ready to become unforgettable by saying less and ruling through silence, share this with the one person who always talks but never listens. Because the world remembers those whose silence shakes the ground, not the ones who never stop shouting. Stay silent, stay powerful, rule, and let the world come to you. Loyalty grows in the dark spaces of the mind, doubt, curiosity, fear. Most try to fill those with noise. Not me. I let silence carve its own throne, because silence commands attention. Every word you do choose to speak, then, becomes 10 times more important. Every glance, every move, becomes something to interpret, analyze, remember. Ordinary men become exhausted by their need to be seen and heard. I become unforgettable by saying less,